Most of us picture caves as tight crevices, dark spaces where water drips and little else happens. But hundreds of meters below ground in Vietnam, there is a cavern so massive it has its own weather system, complete with thick clouds forming right out of the air. This wireframe mapping traces a cave system stretching 9 kilometers. It holds 38.5 million cubic meters of empty space. To put that volume into perspective, you could drop a 40-story skyscraper right into these passages without scraping the ceiling. Yet a geographical anomaly of this size somehow sat completely undetected by humanity until a local farmer stumbled across an entrance. It wasn't fully explored until 2009. The terrain above ground is exactly why it stayed completely hidden. This dense, twisting landscape of karst mountains formed a natural fortress, keeping the cavern locked away from the outside world. Stepping into Son Doong means leaving the surface behind and descending into a void carved from bedrock that has remained largely isolated for hundreds of millions of years. The bedrock of this cavern started forming roughly 450 million years ago as thick layers of calcium-rich limestone. This close-up reveals what that limestone is made of: crushed shells and marine skeletons from an ancient ocean floor. The fan-shaped imprint here is Tetracoralla, an extinct carnivorous coral, proving these walls were deposited long before dinosaurs. The actual void of the cave was carved out much later. 3 million years ago, slightly acidic rain began seeping down through microscopic fractures, steadily dissolving the limestone and widening the cracks into the massive subterranean pathways we see today. That same dripping water eventually built the towering structures inside. These massive mineral stalagmites rise up to 80 meters out of the pools, sharing the floor with ultra-rare spherical cave pearls. The deepest sections of the cave receive zero sunlight, but they are actively crawling with life. The fish swimming in the underground rivers, along with the resident crickets, are entirely blind and rely on alternative senses. Living in absolute darkness, their bodies discarded sight entirely to channel energy into highly sensitive antennae. The apex predators here operate with chemical light. Caveworms produce a blue-green bioluminescence to attract flying insects, reeling prey upward along sticky threads. In these lower depths, the ecosystem is built entirely on slow-dripping water, deep time, and complete sensory deprivation. Meanwhile, the fast-moving river that hollowed out this cave was steadily eating away at the massive limestone ceiling from below. Eventually, the roof became too thin to support its own immense weight. Huge sections fractured and violently collapsed inward, ripping vertical shafts that connected the pitch-black floor directly to the sky. Geologists call these giant sinkholes dolines, and they act as massive natural skylights. This captures the reaction when hot jungle air crashes into the cool cavern. The temperature difference generates indoor weather, forming thick clouds over the rock. The boundary line between light and dark engineered a biological bridge. Algae and mosses bind with calcium carbonate to form phytokarst, semi-living geological formations that physically bend and grow towards the sun. The most extreme adaptation sits at the base of the second doline. Looking down these stairs, you find a dense rainforest thriving beneath the surface, rooted entirely in soil enriched by millions of years of backguano. This diagram illustrates how trees adapt to survive down here. Instead of growing wide canopies, they prioritize rapid vertical growth, creating narrow, ultra-tall trunks that race upward to capture the limited columns of overhead sunlight. This underground oasis supports a complex food web. Centipedes and snakes patrol the dense undergrowth, while red-shanked duke monkeys climb through the canopy, a rare instance of primates establishing a permanent habitat deep within a cave system. The structural failure of the cave roof introduced light into a void, creating a massive, self-contained jungle in a space that would otherwise be completely dark. Son Doong operates as an active laboratory for extreme survival, but while the massive limestone walls feel invincible, the delicate balance of life inside is highly vulnerable. Because of this, human access is strictly regulated. Explorers are confined to a single designated pathway to prevent outside microbes or careless footsteps from damaging the soil. The sheer existence of Son Doong proves that life will exploit even the tightest cracks and darkest depths, engineering an intricate, isolated world directly beneath our feet.